Sit back, relax. You're listening to the Brogcast. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Brogcast. I apologize if I start burping during this episode. I have acid reflux, and for some reason, when I'm doing these episodes, I burp a lot. I think it's just because of the way I'm sitting. But if I do burp, I'm gonna lean off to the side of the microphone like that, so you guys don't have to hear it. But if you guys happen to hear it, I apologize. So this time I smartened up. I am no longer using Snapchat AI for the questions to answer. I'm now using ChatGPT. And the reason for that is because Snapchat AI kept repeating the same questions over and over again. And uh, even though I asked it to give me more questions, it would just recycle the same questions over and over again. So that kind of got annoying. So now I'm using ChatGPT, and I know ChatGPT is like the top G of AI tools. So I'm using ChatGPT, and it gave me a list of pretty good questions. So yeah, here we go. First question is, if you had to swap lives with a character from a TV show, who would it be? So I recently got into this show, um, and I'm in love with it. It's so goofy and stupid. It's Beavis and Butthead. I recently started watching it, and I'm about 20 episodes in, and just all the shenanigans they get into, and all the stupid stuff that they do, and just they're just complete idiots. But I don't know. I feel like living in their universe would just be so fun, fun and ridiculous. I would like to live my life as either Beavis or Butthead. Next question is, what would your dream superpower be? I would say flying. That would be pretty cool. Being able to fly. Uh, I've had like dreams where I'm flying and just flying across the sky over buildings and stuff. I feel like that would be super cool to have the superpower to fly. Next question is, what is your go-to karaoke song? I've actually never done karaoke because I am not a singer. I suck at singing. But if I had a go to karaoke song, it would be Get Low by Lil Jon and the East Side Boys. I know that song back to back, and I just feel like it would be, even though it would sound like shit, it would be really fun to karaoke. Next question is, if you wrote a book, what would the genre be? Um, so I'm not much of a book reader, like I mentioned in the previous episode. So I don't know. Out of the few books that I have read, I do like the graphic novels that I used to read when I was a kid. So I think I would make it a graphic novel. That would be the genre. Next question is, what would be the title of your autobiography? I think a cool title would be Brogue, and the story behind that is one of my favorite wrestlers, Sheamus. He uses the Brogue kick as his finishing maneuver, and the Brogue kick is basically just a big kick to the face. And the reason why he calls it the Brogue kick is because he's Irish, and Brogue in Irish means shoe or boot. And it just so happens that my last name has the word Brogue in it. So I think Brogue would be a pretty cool name to use for my autobiography, just because I'm a big pro wrestling fan, and it just happens to tie into my last name. So I think that would be pretty creative. Next question is, if you had a time machine for one day, what? This is weird. This is worded so weird. If you had a time machine for one day, when and where would you go? Okay, that makes more sense. This is gonna kind of sound messed up, but I would like to go observe Woodstock '99, particularly the scene in which Fred Durst causes the crowd to tear off pieces of the stage. I don't know if I would want to be in the crowd per se, but I would like to be, I don't know, in a very high building away from the chaos and just watching it go down. That would be just super crazy to witness. And yeah, I would like to go back there and see that. Alrighty. Next question is, what is the weirdest or funniest dream you've ever had? Oh man, I have so many of those quite often. Most of my dreams don't make any sense and they're just goofy and stupid. I think I had one the other day where I just woke up laughing because I was like, what the heck was that? Um, uh, I long term, I can't really remember my dreams, so I'm gonna have to sit here and sort of scan through. Oh, okay, here's one. So let's see. So in this dream, like I said, these don't make any sense. This is gonna be a weird dream. Um, so in this dream, I got a new car and I parked it on the side of a road, and then I heard our singer Daniel from our band Mimpathy. I heard him say, "Hey, what's up, Jonathan?" And I look around and I see him, and he's in this van, and it's packed with people, and it's like this crowd is like doing a wave type formation inside of the van. And he's like, "Hey, Jonathan, help!" And he's like getting swallowed up in this wave of people. I'm like, "What the heck?" And then I woke up from that dream, and I was like, "That made zero sense. Why was Daniel in this wave of people in this van? I don't understand that. Like, what was the meaning behind that dream? Makes no sense." Next question is, are you more of a morning person or night owl? I'm kind of a little bit of both, but if I had to pick one, I would say night owl. I'm much more creative during the nighttime. I'm much more focused. I don't know. My brain tends to run better at nighttime. I've noticed. It's a lot more active. I'm also kind of a morning person. I like to get my day started with some mud water and some groons, and maybe some meditation, and get the day started. And that feels really good. And I like doing that. But I would say my mind is more active, more productive, more creative during the nighttime. So I think in the process of elimination, I'm a night person. Next question is, what is your favorite season and why? So my favorite season used to be winter, but now I'm afraid of winter because every winter here in my area, we have strong winds, rain, we have ice storms. I live in the middle of all these big 100-year-old fir trees that could just drop down and crush our house during these ice storms any moment. And so every winter I have that to look forward to. Summer in this area, it gets really hot, like insanely hot to where it's unlivable. And then so I guess that leaves spring and fall. Um, I would say spring. Spring is pretty decent. There's a little bit of sunshine, a little bit of rain. I think it's a good balance. I do like spring, even though I have seasonal allergies. They've gotten better over the years, but I still get those stupid seasonal allergies. So that kind of sucks. But I'd say as far as like weather and stuff, it gets a little bit sunny and a little bit rainy, and it's a good balance compared to the crazy storms we have in winter and the insane heat waves we have in summertime. Next question is, do you prefer coffee or tea? I would say coffee. Nothing beats the taste of coffee. I hardly ever have any caffeinated coffee just because I don't really need it, and it kind of stresses me out a little bit when I drink caffeinated coffee, but I still love the taste of coffee, and so I drink decaf coffee. So I drink the decaf coffee just because the taste of coffee is just unmatched. I love the taste of coffee. Tea is good too. I like tea every once in a while, um, before I go to sleep, or like during the cold winter months. I like to have tea, or maybe when I'm sick, I like to drink some tea with some honey. But I love the taste of coffee, so I would say coffee is my pick for that one. Next question is, what's your ideal weekend look like? I would say a weekend of chilling, watching some TV or playing on my phone, listening to music, bumping the turntable, playing drums, um, going to gigs with my homies in the band in our band Mimpathy. That's an ideal weekend for me. Maybe spending some time outside with my cats and hanging out with them, getting in some sunshine maybe or some fresh air. That's a good weekend for me. Next question is, what's a hobby you've always wanted to try? So I think one hobby that I really want to not really try because I've tried it before, but sort of dive into is like art and animation. So I ever since I was a kid, I've liked to draw, particularly like cartoon characters, and I'd like to dive into that and figure out how to animate them. That would be super super cool. It seems like a really hard job to do, though. I mean, it's gotten better over the years with with CGI and things like that. But I would like to, see how that process works and sit there and make my own animations. That would be super super cool. Next question is: are you more of a beach person or a mountain person? Um, I am a mountain person, 100% in this question because I think I mentioned this in one of my previous episodes, but I have barophobia. And basically, what that means is if I'm in an open area with no buildings, no people, nothing, if it's just a wide open area and there's nothing but the ground in the sky, I freak the hell out. And so, barophobia is the fear of lack of gravity. And I have this fear. It sounds silly, it sounds really stupid and illogical, but I have this fear that I'm going to float up into the sky and never come down. I don't know why. I've always had that fear since I was a kid. And yeah, if I go to a beach or a football field, anywhere with a wide open area, I freak out. Like if you really want to mess with me, just just walk with me into a beach and run away. I will sit there and go, ah, like I will lose my mind. So mountains all the way. I've actually never, I don't think I've ever been to a mountain or climbed a mountain. But I do like nature. So that would be, I think I would like climbing mountains or at least going to see mountains and walk around them. So yeah, mountains is my answer for that. Next question is, what is your favorite meal of the day? My favorite meal of the day would be dinner. And the reason why is because I actually eat and get to enjoy food a lot more during dinner time. That is because my breakfast slash lunch, because I do fast, is something super boring. Like I'll do rice or potatoes or green beans for my first meal. And then for dinner, it's usually something more jam packed, like a meat and then a side and then a vegetable. So I guess that's a lot more of a fun meal compared to my breakfast, my first meal of the day. Dinner would be my favorite meal of the day because it's more fun compared to my breakfast. Next question is, do you like working in silence or with background noise? So I would say background noise, particularly music. If I'm working on something or if I'm just sitting alone, just chilling, I prefer music in the background compared to silence. I do like silence every now and then. It's nice just to have, the sound of nothing, but most of the time, I like the background noise, particularly music. Next question is, what is a guilty pleasure TV show or song? Um, this is gonna sound super embarrassing, but there is a song that I've been bumping quite a bit lately that mainly I like for the nostalgic purpose of it, but it's more of a girl song. It's an old country song from 2004 called Redneck Woman by Gretchen Wilson. And that song's just a bop. It's so catchy, man. I and it brings me back to 2004. So like I like to listen to that song, but uh I don't know if I wanted to admit that. That's so embarrassing to say, but it's a good song. I'm not going to lie. It's a very good song. So that's my guilty pleasure song. Next question is, do you prefer ebooks or physical books? I'm not much of a book reader, but If I do occasionally read a book, I prefer the physical books just because there's a different type of experience. We're on our phones and computers all the time, and when you're flipping through a physical book, there's a different change of experience because you're not staring at a screen just like you do 90% of the day, right? When you're reading a physical book, it's a different experience. You get to see the pages, you get to interact with it, flip the pages, you get to look at all the print and everything like that. And I feel like when I read a physical book, I tend to the imagery that happens when I read is a lot stronger when I'm reading a physical book compared to when I'm reading an ebook or something like that. So for me, it's a completely different experience, and I like the physical books much more. Next question is, what was your favorite cartoon growing up? I was a big cartoon kid growing up, and so there was a lot of cartoons that I would watch that I really liked. But if I had to pick one, I think it would be Jimmy Neutron. Reason being is because I don't know. I'm not sure exactly why I liked that cartoon so much. I think it's because it was one of the first like 3D cartoons, so it was super cool to see that. And and Carl Weezer is such a ridiculous character and kind of relatable because he's a ginger and he's got glasses and he's kind of nerdy and he's got allergies. So I related a lot to Carl Weezer. Um, but something about that show, I really liked Jimmy Neutron. But like I said, there's got to be like 20 or 30 cartoons that I really liked back in the day when I was a kid. But if I had to pick one, it would be Jimmy Neutron. Next question is, did you collect anything as a kid? Um, oh yeah. Yeah, I did. So for a brief period I would collect jewelry, not jewelry, but gemstones. And because my sister would go on the oh, what was the channel called? I forget what the TV channel was called, but it was on satellite TV. You would go on there and it would have a phone number at the bottom, and it would have all of these gemstones for sale. And my sister would always call that number and order a bunch of gemstones. And so she had a bunch of gemstones, and she gave me like a case full of gemstones, and it would come with like the magnifying glass, the little tweezers to look at it. And I had a bunch of gemstones at that point. And another thing that I collected as a kid for more long term was die-cast muscle cars. I remember I had a whole shelf full. I had a Nova, a Chevy Nova. I had an Impala. I had a Lamborghini Gallardo. I had I think I had a Mustang. I had all these super cool die-cast collectible cars. That was a big thing that I collected back in the day, and I wish I still had those cars. I don't know if my mom like sold them at a garage sale or if maybe I broke them. I don't know, but yeah, I miss those cars. My favorite one I think was the uh was the Impala. The Impala was super cool. It had or no, it wasn't Impala. It was a Malibu. Yeah, it was an old Chevy Malibu. I think it was a 67, and I really liked the color of it. It was like a emerald green on the hood, the roof, and then the trunk, and then on the sides it was like a pearl white. It looked so cool, and I was like, I want to get that car when I grow up. Like that is such a cool looking car. Um, so yeah, I really liked collecting cars growing up. Next question is, what was your first concert or live show? So my first concert, and I'm so glad I went, was the Rush R40 tour, and I went with my stepdad, and it was an amazing concert. Neil Peart's drum solo, of course, is like the highlight of each Rush concert, but they also did like a few. They did a lot of cool things with the stage props. They would in between each song they would add or subtract different stage props to sort of get a certain vibe for each song. They would have like old school like stage props or amps or lighting after each song. There was also a South Park reference in there that was kind of funny. And the reason why I'm so glad I went to this concert was because a few months later I found out that that was their very last tour and they were done. They were finished as a band because they were getting older. I think they were 65 at the time. And so they were done with, at least as a band for music. And so, I'm so happy I went to that concert because if I didn't, I would never see Rush, ever. And Rush is one of my favorite bands. My stepdad got me into them when I was a little kid, and I'm so glad I went to that concert because that was their last concert, and I had no idea until months later. I was like, I'm so glad I went. Next question is, what was your dream job when you were little? Um, so my dad will tell you this. The answer to that question would change all the time. Whenever we were in the car, my dad would ask, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I would just change the answer. I don't know why. I think it's because I wanted to keep the answer fresh each time. Um, so I would say like firefighter, and then the next time I would say astronaut, and then the next time I would say uh, karate fighter, and like all these other ones. I think one that really stuck with me was pro wrestling. I really got into pro wrestling when I think I was 10 when I got into pro wrestling, and I would always dream of becoming a professional wrestler. That just looked so cool, and for a long time, that's what I really wanted to do. But then as I got older into my teen years, I started thinking more logically about that, and I was like, yeah, I really don't want to spend most of my time in the hospital with injuries. Like I'm like cuz I'm kind of scared of having surgery done. Like even when I had my wisdom teeth taken out, I was super like freaked out going into that just because of like the whole anesthesia thing. Like it's just so weird to think about that like you're given something that knocks you out and you can't feel any pain and you're off in some other world and then all of a sudden you wake up. Like that's just it just freaks me out. But anyways, I was like, yeah, I don't want to be injured all the time as a pro wrestler and get hooked on pain pills and just be sore all the time. Like that just doesn't sound fun. But when I was a kid, it was all about, oh, I can do cool tricks. I can flip off the top rope. I can, you know, do all these cool maneuvers and I can get on the mic and punk people, you know. When I was a kid, that was one thing that stuck with me was wanting to become a pro wrestler. Next question is, what toy or game defined your childhood? I would say Tekken 3. I was into a lot of uh, video games growing up, but the one big video game that stuck with me was Tekken 3. That was my favorite video game, and it still is to this day. I think it's still my favorite Tekken game, just because it was so ahead of its time. And whenever I play it, I it brings me back to playing it when I was 5 and playing it with my dad and getting to getting like all of the crazy unlockable characters like Dr. Boskanovich, the the drunk doctor, playing Tekken Ball, and yeah, that game was so ahead of its time. But it was when I was a kid, it was something that I never saw before when it came to video games. The graphics were so unreal, and just the presentation of everything was so different that I really loved that game. And my favorite character in Tekken 3 and in Tekken in general is Warang. And the reason why I picked Warang as a kid was because he had red hair. And at that time, I was kind of ashamed of my red hair because everyone I knew had brown hair, black hair, blonde hair, and I was like the only redhead in my school. So I felt like I was represented by Warang, and I got attached to him because of that. So yeah, Tekken 3 was my number one video game as a child, for sure. Next question is, did you have a favorite teacher in school? Yeah, yeah. Well, man, well, I had a lot of really good teachers. I guess I'll pick one from like each school that I went to. So I would say my favorite teacher in elementary school was my sixth grade teacher. She was so awesome. And I'm not gonna name names because that's a little, yeah, I don't want to dox them. So elementary school was my sixth grade teacher. Junior high, I would say my seventh grade math teacher, and I still see her every now and then, and super cool to see her. And then in high school, my favorite teacher was the band teacher that I had for my senior year. And the reason why he was my favorite band teacher was because he understood me and my playing style. Because the previous band teacher, also a great band teacher, but he was more old school. And my playing style was like I suck at reading sheet music, and I just couldn't learn that way. The only way that I could learn was by listening to the music, like looking up on YouTube or listening to it through a CD or whatever, and then learning it that way, and then also learning music through feel. And nobody really understood my playing style until he came along. When he came along, he really saw like, okay, this guy's pretty good. You know, he may have a different um, way of learning, but I really like his playing style, and he's a good drummer. Next question is, what is a school lunch that you secretly liked? Oh, I hated school lunches. The school lunches that I had all the way from elementary school to high school were trash. Uh, I guess the only well, okay, I'm gonna before I answer that, I'm gonna tell this story. So I think I was in fourth or fifth grade, and I was in the cafeteria, and I got all of my lunch stuff, and I sat down, and I was talking to one of my classmates, and we were just talking, and then I go to eat my grapes. I take a grape and I eat it, and then I'm like, I'm feeling around the grapes, and I'm like, this feels kind of weird. Like, what is this substance in the grapes? So I look down. There's a spider egg sac in my grapes, and I'm like, whoa! Like, how did the school staff allow that to come through? Like, kids are eating this food, and there's a spider egg in my grapes, and I was like, okay. And then from that point on, I did not eat hot lunch at school again. I would always bring my own lunch because I was like, that is disgusting. Now, when I did eat hot lunch, I would say the halfway decent food that we had was probably the pizza pockets. That was probably the only decent food. And if I had to pick a favorite, that would be it. But yeah, after that incident, I never ate hot lunch again. Next question is, what is a memory from childhood that still makes you laugh? I have many memories from my childhood that make me laugh, but one that I always come back to, especially when I see it on my Facebook memories, because I have a Facebook post from when I think I was 11, and I made this post, and each year it'll come up in my Facebook memories, and I'll go, haha, that was so crazy. So I don't know why I did this. I was being a devious little 11-year-old. Um, so we had some people who we knew who were camping um, a little bit further away from my house. And I don't know why I got this idea, but I decided to get a carton of eggs, and then I brought my trumpet, which I used in fifth grade band class, and I decided to, yeah, get that carton of eggs and my trumpet, put it on my ATV, drive over there, and my plan was to uh, play my trumpet as loud and awfully as possible and throw eggs at their tents. So I started playing. I think I tried to play that. What song is it? I think it was Taps that I was trying to play, and then I did like Hot Cross Buns, and then I just started like just blowing into my trumpet, just making obnoxious noises. And then after that, I took the eggs and I started throwing them at the tents. And one of the guys came out of the tent, and I think they were high school kids. Yeah, I think they were like high school seniors at the time. He comes out of the tent and he picks up some rocks, and he's chasing me, and he's throwing rocks at me like this. And I'm laughing my ass off, and I'm running, and then I made it back home. And then I think my parents made me apologize, which justifiably so. That was not cool, but and it's weird because I wasn't really a evil kid growing up. I wasn't really like that, but for some reason the thought of doing that was really funny in my head, so I decided to do it. So yeah, if I had to pick one thing, one funny story from my childhood, that would be it. That was each time I see it in my Facebook memories, I'm like, oh, why? I, It's funny, but at the same time, I'm like, why did I do that? That was not okay. All right, next question is dogs or cats? So I'm an animal person through and through. Well, I wouldn't say through and through. There are a couple animals that I don't really fuck with, like spiders or snakes. So I love dogs and I love cats as well. But I would say I'm more of a dog person, or at least like I'm a cat and a dog person. But I think I connect more with dogs. Like I think dogs understand me more than cats do. It's easier to get along with dogs, and I bond with dogs a lot more compared to cats. Um, and I had a dog for 15, almost 16 years, and his name was Buddy, and he was a miniature poodle. And a couple years ago, he passed away. We had to put him to sleep. He was having seizures and hearing problems, and he was going blind, and yeah, he was my best friend, and I don't think I'll ever connect to an animal the way that I connect to him. So I think because of him, uh, I'm gonna have to pick dogs here. And also, whenever I go to see my sister's dogs, Runkle and Rambo, I tend to bond with them pretty good. And then I also watch my friend's dogs up at his place, and when I first, they only see me like once a year. So like when I first arrived there, they want to kill me, or at least they try to like scare me because like, who are you? But once I get them settled down and stuff, I get bonded with them pretty good too. And so I'd say yeah, I love cats, but I seem to connect and bond better with dogs. Next question is sweet or salty? I would say sweet. Um, Most salty foods, I mean, they're good, but like I'm not really a big salt person. When it comes to peanuts or nuts, I don't like the salted. Even if it's sea salted, it seems like to me the whole sea salt thing is just a stupid marketing thing to like get people to buy nuts with like a bunch of salt on them. I can't stand it. Like a lot of the nuts that I see on the shelf at the store, especially like the planters, they're all covered in salt, and it's not like a pinch of salt. Like they are covered in salt, and it is just uneatable. You As you're eating them, your mouth dries out, and you can't even taste the nuts. Like it's just you're just eating salt, and I hate that. Um, then there's also salt and vinegar chips. Ugh, like that's a mouth sore waiting to happen. And then like the regular Lay's, so much salt. Like I don't know why. I mean, I know why they put a bunch of salt in the chips to make you dehydrated and make you want more, but I can't stand the regular Lay's. The yellow bag Lay's, so much salt, dude. So yeah, as far as what is palatable, between salty and sweet, sweet is so much better. All right, next is phone call or text. Text. I am my my siblings and many other people will probably agree with this. I suck at answering the phone. I am I put my phone on do not disturb, and I've been loving that because I can take a nap, I can sleep through the night, I can watch my favorite TV shows, I can listen to music, and I don't have to worry about picking up the phone. And that's really bad. Like that's really really bad, especially if it's something like an emergency. But if there's an emergency, I would rather people message me about it and then I call them, just because I really don't like talking on the phone. I feel like it's a little more inconvenient. Unless it's something like really, really, really important, then yeah, I prefer a phone call. But nine times out of 10, I prefer text. It's just more convenient that way. And yeah, it's a lot better than phone calls most of the time. Next question is movie theater or streaming at home? Movie theater. There's there's a huge difference in the experience, you know? Sitting there with your popcorn and seeing that big screen and just the whole atmosphere, the lighting, the sound, especially the sound system. You cannot beat the movie theater sound system. You can't. I mean, you could make a home theater system, but the complete change in atmosphere and the sound system that they have there is just completely unmatched. Like movie theater all the way, man. The atmosphere, the whole experience. The especially like the new movie theaters, the type of movie theater seats that they have, so comfortable. You're sitting in like it feels like you're sitting on a cloud, and it is so much better than just sitting at home on your couch streaming something. In my opinion. Next question is sunrise or sunset? I would say sunset. I love like the beautiful hues you can see in the sky, the pinks, the oranges, the blues, the purples, all of that. Yeah, sunset all the way. I just love how it looks. It looks so cool. Next question is pizza or tacos? Hmm, that's a good question. Um, I like pizza and tacos, but I feel like I have to be in the mood for tacos. Whereas pizza, it's so customizable that you could pretty much be in the mood for it all the time. There is one pizza that I get from my local pizza parlor. It's called the Baja Pepperoni. So it's a combination pizza. It's got onions, green peppers, sausage, pepperoni, uh, just the regular sauce, cheese, and all that. And then, oh, it's also got pineapple. And then it's got a drizzle of buffalo sauce. And oh man, it is delicious. I just discovered it like a month or so ago when I was online ordering, and I was like, I've never heard of this pizza before. It looks good. I'm gonna try it. And oh man. And usually as a family we have to get two separate pizzas because, we both have different tastes in pizza. But now all we need is just that Baja pepperoni because everyone in my household loves the Baja pepperoni. It is amazing. So to answer this question, I would say pizza just because there's a lot of options for pizza, and whether you want something sweet, something spicy, something meaty, something saucy, um, pizza's always an option. It's not like tacos where you pretty much get the same thing with tacos. Pizza, you can just do so many different things, and pretty much no matter what mood you're in, you could always go for pizza. Next question is road trip or flying? Road trip. I hate flying. Now, to be fair, I haven't flown since I think I was 6 or 7 when I flew last. So it's been a very, very long time. And that was my first time flying. But the idea but being that high up in the air and a chance for that plane to malfunction and possibly dying from a plane crash, nope, that's a no for me, dog. But if I had to fly, I would just kind of chill out and just be like, okay, like the chances of a plane crash happening are very low. I'll do it. But if I had the option to do a road trip, I would do a road trip, especially if it's like with my homies. Like that would be awesome. Go on a big road trip with my friends. In fact, we're actually thinking about doing that um, in the near future because I have my passport now, and we want to take a road trip to Canada, and that would be so much fun. So definitely road trip over flying. Next question is sneakers or sandals? Sneakers all the way, dude. I hate sandals, especially flip flops. They're so uncomfortable. I hate sandals. I don't own a single pair of sandals. The only time I will ever wear sandals is if I have to, like at a water park. I'll throw on some flip flops, but 9 times out of 10, it's always sneakers. Oh man, I have so many sneakers. I have like 10 pairs of sneakers. I like sneakers. They look cool and they're comfortable, especially like running shoes. I don't know if you would call those sneakers. They're kind of sneakers. Um, but they're a lot more comfortable. They're a lot more stylish. They're a lot more durable. They last a lot longer. And oh yeah, overall they're just more comfortable. I'm a sneaker guy all the way compared to sandals. Sandals are just not comfortable for me. Next question is comedy or mystery. Comedy all the way. I love comedy. I am like all the way into comedy. I like dark humor. I like goofy humor. I like stupid humor. A big emphasis on the dark humor. Like a lot of the stuff that I find funny is completely out of pocket. But I'm a big fan of stand-up comedy as well. I like Gabriel Iglesias. I like Tom Segura. I like Dave Chappelle, Mark Normand, Stavros. I can't remember how to Halkias. I forget how to pronounce his last name, but I'm just gonna say Stavros. Louis C.K., Theo Von is probably my favorite comedian, just because his humor is just so off and unusual that like every joke that he tells is completely out of nowhere, and it just you're not expecting what he's gonna say. That's what I love about Theo. You never know what his joke is gonna be like, and I really like Theo Von. Next question is camping or hotel. Uh, I would say camping, just because hotels you never know. Like I would say for the germaphobe aspect, you just never know what bed bugs, what how dirty a hotel is. Like you don't know how, like you don't know the upkeep of it. That's pretty much the main reason why I don't like hotels. Um, I like camping because you're in nature and you just kind of get to live like a basic you have like a basic living experience when you're camping, and you get to just see all the nature. I will share one camping experience that wasn't so great. So me and my parents and my cousin went camping at one of our favorite camping spots, and this was at the middle of the night. So in the middle of the night, me and my cousin are in this tent and we're sleeping, right? And then it starts pouring down rain, and it pours down rain, and my cousin is bone dry. He's sleeping like a baby. On my side of the tent, I didn't realize that I can't remember if either the cover of the tent wasn't on all the way or if there was a large hole in the tent, but the rain started coming down and I got drenched. This was like at 2 a.m. and I was freezing cold. Oh, it was terrible. And I just look over at my cousin and he's just dry and he's sleeping like a baby. And I'm like, it was the worst. I I was like, I'm never going camping again. I think I was like 9 or 10 at the time. I'm like, I'm not going camping ever again. But it was not a good experience. So now, whenever I go camping, I make sure that my tent is completely rainproof. And if my tent has a hole in it, I'm throwing that tent away. It's not happening. Um, so yeah, I prefer camping, just because I'm a big fan of nature, and just you just get to kind of live simple for a little bit, and I like that. All right, next question is, what is something small that instantly makes your day better? I would say something small that makes my day better is going out and hanging out with my cats. I have a female orange cat, and then I have a black and white tuxedo cat. And going out there, especially if the weather's nice and the sun's out, getting out in the sun and getting to hang out with them and pet them and hang out with them. There's nothing better than that. That is one simple thing that makes me happy, that I love to do, is hanging out with my cats. All right, last question is, if you could master any skill instantly, what would it be? I would say math is that skill for me, and the reason why is because I suck at math. I'm pretty good at most academic stuff, but when it comes to math, I'm lost. Like I can't do it. It just doesn't compute with my brain. Um, I feel like if I mastered math, my life would just be a lot easier, and also would make my mind a little bit more analytical. And if my mind was more analytical, life would just be easier, just because I would be thinking things a lot more logically. All right, y'all, that does it for this episode of the Brogcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys next time. Peace.